What is going on with Fede Valverde? What is actually going on with maybe the most reliable and consistent player in the Real Madrid squad, barring maybe Thibaut Courtois? Now, after the Atletico Madrid loss, I realised there are a lot of problems in this Real Madrid squad. There are a lot of cracks that are kind of just getting not filled, not really fixed. They're just kind of getting a little bit of sellotape put over them and be like, this is fine, we'll deal with it later. That's what's been happening. But because we've been picking up victory after victory, because we keep winning games, because we've got 6 out of 6 points, it just like everybody, not just myself, but everybody in the fan base and maybe even the club, maybe even the higher ups, everyone is just like, it's cool, it's calm, it's a process, we'll get there. Right now it's just about winning. But you can't have a performance like the way we had against Atletico Madrid and now all of a sudden just pretend that it's a process, it's calm, it's cool. No, because it's not acceptable. It's Real Madrid. Those kind of performances are not acceptable. And what I'm going to be doing over the next few days is going over all the issues and problems and things that I want to address and talk about. And today we're going to start with Fede Valverde. Because something is wrong. Something is very, very wrong. Now let's start with when Xabi Alonso arrived. Because that's when everything kind of kicked off. We're not going to go back to when he first joined the team. We're not going to look at all that stuff. We might address it and we might go back to just look at examples and situations. We're not going to focus on all of that stuff. We're going to focus specifically from the moment Xabi Alonso arrived. Because when he arrived, we saw a different and a new and a better Fede Valverde. Because actually, here we go. I'm already going last year. Because last year with Carlo Ancelotti, Fede Valverde scored a number of goals. But they were all bangers and screamers from outside the box. He didn't score a single goal inside the box all year. Not one. Not a single one. At the Club World Cup, Fede scored 2, maybe 3 goals. I can't remember. I think it was 2, but it could have been 3. All goals, and all of them, every single one was in the box. He scored every single one of his goals in the box. He scored in the box more times in a 6 or 7 game tournament under Xabi Alonso than he did over the course of a whole season with Carlo Ancelotti, where the stats are out. All the information is out. Fede Valverde played the most games of anybody in the world of football besides Modric. I think Modric played 76 games, Valverde played 72, which is phenomenal for Modric because he's 39 years old at the time, or he was 39 years old at the time, and taking nothing away from him, but Fede was starting all of these games. Modric was coming on as a sub in a lot of these games and playing the last 30 or 40 minutes. Fede Valverde was starting every single one of these games. So his 72 games are definitely a bit more difficult than Modric's 76. But then when you take the age into consider, maybe not. But that's a whole different argument and not got nothing to do with my point. Let's get back on point. He played a whole bunch of games. A whole bunch. But he didn't score from inside the box once. With Xabi Alonso, he did it 2 or 3 times. He looked like a different player. He looked like a player who had been given the freedom to attack and push forward and make use of his attacking attributes. One of the things Xabi Alonso said in one of his interviews at the Club World Cup was that Fede Valverde reminds him of Steven Gerrard. He's one of the players that most resembles Gerrard, and Gerrard was not a deep-lying playmaker. Well, he could do that. He could do that side of the game. But you did not waste Gerrard in and around his own box. You didn't tell Gerrard, stay in front of the defence. You told Gerrard, do what you want to do. You told Gerrard, go up the pitch, come back and help the defence and be everywhere because he could do both sides of the game that well. And Fede is the exact same. You don't tell him to sit in defence. You don't tell him to go and attack. You tell him to do everything. He's got the fitness for it. He's got the willingness for it. He's got the determination for it. And he's got the legs for it. I mean, that's also kind of fitness, but he's got that. He's willing. He is a willing runner and he will do that. It's one of those guys, like the amount of times I've seen this guy play and you can tell he is dead. He is exhausted because he has just sprint to one side of the pitch. But he knows he has to help his team. He knows he has to get back. So what does he do? He puts his head down and just starts running. He's not looking at how far he's moving. He's not looking at where he needs to get to. He just puts his head down and he starts running because he knows he needs to start. He needs to start making these movements and start taking these steps and start running backwards. And then eventually he lifts his head and starts giving direction to his movement. But initially it just starts with him putting his head down and just move. Getting that body moving, making sure he's off the line. Now, having said all of that, the season started and he's looked nothing like that player. He's not even looked anything like the player we've seen in the past few seasons. Fede Valverde just looks like a headless chicken. He just looks like, oh, all I can do is run. That's literally what he's become. His whole game has become all I can do is run. And it's starting to get on my nerves. It's really starting to get on my nerves. Now, we know that's not all he's about. We know that's not all he can do. But right now, that's all he's doing. And it does kind of remind me of a couple instances and a couple big games. Couple big games where we need midfielders to do certain things, where he's not doing these things. And here I'm about to go off on Fede. Because sometimes I question what he brings to the midfield. I do. Like, it sounds crazy to say, and I'm not being reactionary, because this isn't based on this last game against Atletico. This isn't based on this season. This is based on what I saw in the Champions League over a few seasons against the big teams like your Man Cities when we got knocked out, or other big games where we needed our midfield and we needed players to step up. He's not doing that stuff. For a very long time, Fede Valverde's lack of ability and what he brings on the ball was getting overlooked and not given any importance because of the midfielders he had around him. Let me say that again. For many, many seasons, Fede Valverde's ineffectiveness on the ball was getting overlooked because next to him in midfield, he had two of the greatest midfielders on the ball, or just two of the greatest midfielders, period, in Luka Modric and Toni Kroos. It is very, very hard to have a midfield look bad when Modric and Kroos are the ones running things. Whether individually or together, it doesn't matter, because he played both. He played both sides. He played when they were good enough and young enough and had the legs to play together, and he did when they could only play one at a time. He did both, and because of what they offered and what they brought and what they were about on the ball, no one cared about Fede Valverde's ineffectiveness on the ball. But now, all of a sudden, we don't have that. And we need to start questioning what he's doing on the ball. Because there's a lot of times, and I'm looking at that one pass that led to Atletico's 5th goal against us the weekend. That's not the only times he's done that kind of pass. There's been so many times where Fede Valverde's got the ball and he can run because no one's catching him. No midfielder in world football is catching Fede Valverde. Wingers might catch him. Strikers might catch him. Fullbacks might catch him. No midfielder is catching Fede Valverde when he puts his head down or when he starts sprinting. He is way too fast and he's way too quick. But so many times, instead of running, when he's got time and he doesn't need to pass, he just straight away releases the ball to a teammate. Straight away. Whether he's in a corner in defence and he's just won the ball back, instead of holding it for a second, allowing his defender to drop back and away from the opposition player that he was also pressing, he straight away gives him the ball. And that man has no choice but to clear it, or to one-touch pass it back to him, and they've kind of trapped themselves because they're too close, and the opposition player, the attacker, all he has to do is get in between them, and he's somehow covered both of them. He does that a lot. These wayward passes, he does those a lot. You look at our other midfielders. Now, I'm not going to talk about other clubs and what they have. Look at our other midfielders. And I'm not talking about Toni Kroos or Modric either. Let's not look at the greats of the game. Let's just look at the midfielders we have right now. Tchouaméni is a monster at CDM and he has been phenomenal. And what he does is he breaks apart attacks. And when he breaks apart attacks, his distribution is decent. It's not amazing. It's not the best thing you've ever seen in the world, but he's got the ability to play long balls. He's got the ability to find a pass, like the ones he was playing to Kylian Mbappe during the international break for France. He has that ability, but he's a breaker of play. He's a destroyer of the opposition attacks. That's what he does. That's what he brings off the ball. But on the ball, he's also capable. Bellingham is the most complete player we have in the squad besides Fede Valverde. Because Fede, let's not take away from the fact that he is a complete player in most regards. Bellingham is amazing on the ball and he's amazing off the ball. I don't even think I need to say a lot about Jude. He's very, very good. Even Dani Ceballos, like, this is how annoyed I am with Fede right now. And like I said, I'm not reacting to what he did against Atletico Madrid. I'm reacting to what's been building up for a few years, and I need to start talking about it. Because we're overlooking it too much because he is so beloved by Real Madrid. He is so beloved by our club because of the effort and the work rate he puts in. And I love him for that, because he always puts his all in. This guy wears his heart on his sleeve. You can see it from his celebration. He loves Real Madrid and he will die for this club and he will give everything when he's on that pitch. There is no questions about that. There's no issues about that. My problem is what do you offer and what do you do on the ball in the big games against the big teams? Because we can't just have someone who runs around. We're Real Madrid. We cannot just have a player who just runs around. Going back to our other midfielders, Arda Güler has turned into one of the best creative midfielders in world football and one of the best midfielders in world football. His connection and link up with Mbappe is amazing. His ability to find that final killer pass and line breaking pass and ability to link up play and find the pockets of spaces and all that stuff just make him a phenomenal midfielder. That's what he offers on the ball. Even Dani Ceballos on the ball, as much as I hate Ceballos, because with Ceballos, my issue is he hogs the ball too long. There's a player open on the left wing, usually the left back or the right winger, and there is nothing stopping this guy from releasing the ball. Just release the ball, give it to him. He takes a touch. Release the ball, give it to him, he takes another touch. Release the ball and give it to the free man, he takes another touch and then he plays the pass. A pass he could have played 4 touches ago. For some reason, my man takes 4 touches and then releases the pass. There's literally no reason for it whatsoever, but that's what he always does. And that's my main issue with him. But even Dani Ceballos on the ball contributes and offers something. He helps keep the ball, he helps link up play, he helps try to bring people into play. Fede doesn't even do that. Like I said, I don't want to go off on Fede because I love Fede. And I know right now his form is not the best. And this season his form hasn't been the best. And the most troubling and problematic thing right now is what he said in his latest interview, where he said, I either don't understand the new team or the new system, or I don't know my place in it, or I can't find my place in it, or I don't know how to do what I need to do properly. He said something like that, something along those lines. I don't have the exact quote in front of me, but he said something like that, and that is very alarming. Because you had the whole Club World Cup where you were phenomenal, and you've had 7 or 8 games this season. We're about to hit October. At what point do you understand or find what this team needs from you or your position on this pitch? Do you get me? But yeah, I'm going off on Fede, and I could keep going off. And I haven't even reached the aspect of the reason this guy broke into the team. The reason Fede initially broke into the team wasn't as a midfielder, it was as a runner. Because Carvajal was getting overrun on our right wing, and we needed a right winger who would defend and offer something offensively. Something. And that's where Fede came in. Fede became our right winger because Carvajal needed help, and we didn't have a right winger that offered that. Rodrigo was still young and wasn't ready to start. No one else was really good. No one else really offered defensively what Valverde did. So he came in and he became a phenomenal right winger. That's what Fede started off as in our team. He didn't start off as a midfielder. He started off as a winger because of his track back and running ability. He didn't get into that team because of what he offers on the ball. What he offers on the ball is great, but he got into that team because of what he offers off the ball. But we are Real Madrid. We cannot, especially now where we can't manage to win a big game against a big team no matter what we do, we cannot have passengers who only offer one half of the game. We need this guy to offer more. We need him to start doing more on the ball. We do. We fully do. And I've got to be honest, and this might be harsh, but again, like I said, this isn't a reactionary thing to last weekend. This is something I've been seeing for a while. When he gets the ball, he's way too quick to release it to someone else who's way too close to him. He is way too quick to release the ball as opposed to holding onto it for a second or two before passing it to someone else. It's like hot potato. He just wants to get rid of it straight away. And I don't like that. But anyway, like I said, I'm about to go off on a whole bunch of things because that performance annoyed me. And the way we've been moving lately has kind of annoyed me because we are playing very, very... I can't remember the last time we won a big game. It's been like over a year and a half. We haven't won a big game. So I've got a few things that I'm going to be going over the next few days. But I'm going to call it there for today. Thanks for watching and peace.